Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So today I want to talk about Whole Cake Island Big Mom and her dream. And so guys, it's about time I made this video. As the vast majority of you guys should know at this juncture, I have been and still am a huge advocate for the idea that Big Mom may not be the clear enemy that we assume that she must be. She is of course a rival pirate and a Yonko. Luffy has earned her ire and Big Mom has done several very disgusting things throughout the chapters in which we have come to get to know her. So how can she not be an enemy and a necessary evil Luffy must overcome and defeat? Like, am I just a retard? Well guys, there's plenty of arguments I have used, but I think the most impactful revolves around her dream, the protection of the various races from threat of slavery, racism, discrimination, and prejudice. It's very clear when reading through One Piece that this is in fact a huge problem for the non-human races and tribes of the world. What Big Mom is doing for me makes sense based on these people's needs. They need a place of safety and Big Mom provides that. But have you ever stopped to consider that Big Mom having this dream is by far the most unusual goal of any major enemy in the entirety of One Piece? Never once has there been any reason to doubt Luffy would need to defeat the major antagonists of any arc. From Alvida to Krieg to Arlong and Crocodile, Enel, CP9, Akainu, Blackbeard, Hody Jones, and Doflamingo, Oda has not given us any reason to potentially believe that they are good people during the arcs that they were introduced. Yet, here Big Mom is, a very clear enemy with a very unclear motive. It is the most baffling thing I have ever seen. So if this is indeed Big Mom's dream, we must ask ourselves, why did Oda add this into the story? What role will it play? And I've speculated on this repeatedly, and I always come back to the same conclusion. Perhaps Oda is misleading us on Big Mom's true character and role in the story, setting up what may potentially be the biggest plot twist in the story ever. Big Mom is not an enemy. Beyond her dream, there are in fact other ways of reasoning essentially everything Big Mom has done in the story, which may seem to force her to be an enemy. I won't get into it here, but I could argue for Big Mom on everything she has done, essentially. But honestly, at this point in the story, I can no longer argue Big Mom to be a bundle of sunshine and roses as I have attempted to do in the past, sadly. In this regard, it is very clear I have been wrong. But despite this, it doesn't matter, because the precedent in the story has been set such as that a character doesn't have to be an all-encompassing force of good to earn the friendship of the Straw Hats. Boa Hancock, a now beloved character, was first introduced in a way very similar to Big Mom, how Big Mom is being portrayed now. Boa was ruthless, vindictive, and killed indiscriminately, all because she was, quote-unquote, the most beautiful woman in the world. She even went so far as attempting to kill her own subordinates, who Luffy had already befriended. And it seems clear she must have successfully, done this in the past, or at least has attempted to do this in the past. She has the power in which she can do what it is that she wants and kill whoever it is pleases her. But all of this didn't matter at the end of the day, because Oda redeemed her. He fleshed out her motives and insecurities and had Luffy change her perspective, without, incidentally, fighting or defeating her physically. It's also worth noting that Big Mom's powers, just the same as Boa Hancock's powers, are probably ineffective on Luffy, which is curious. And many others argue that Big Mom wanting to be the pirate queen or king and being a Yonko automatically means that Luffy must defeat her. But Luffy has befriended Yonko in the past, such as Whitebeard and Shanks, and Luffy has also befriended or made alliances with those looking to become the Pirate King as well, such as Crocodile and many others. My point here is simple. There's absolutely no reason Big Mom's role in the story can't change. Oda can potentially redeem her. Just as the same as many people didn't believe that it was possible for Oda to redeem Pudding, Oda can as well redeem Big Mom. But with all this being said, I think a recent revelation in the story must be talked about, and it potentially opens up the door for me to be wrong. And to avoid talking about it just because of my own bias would be unfair to both you guys and myself. So let's talk about it. I believe wholeheartedly that if Big Mom is going to be a true enemy, her dream must be proven false. Or even if Luffy does end up defeating her, Big Mom will be redeemed in death or in defeat as a true pirate and a pillar of good, which was removed from this world by our hero, Monkey D. Luffy. This doesn't sit right with me. So throughout Whole Cake Island, it's very interesting to me that aside from some of Big Mom's nasty tendencies, there's absolutely nothing that outright contradicts Big Mom's dream. The people there that we can see in the background are genuinely happy and respectful of the Big Mom pirates and what the Big Mom pirates do for them. There's several scenes that give me this impression, such as the children's reaction to the death of Charlotte Moscato, Peril Sparrow allowing the children to eat the candy stairs he had created in almost a fatherly type fashion, the Big Mom pirates' genuine concern at the safety of Whole Cake Island and its residents when Big Mom went on the rampage, and even when Big Mom was taxing their lifespan, the woman we see is pictured with a content smile as though the price was worth it. This is also backed up by Big Mom's choices in spouse and the composition of her family. Not only does she talk the talk, but she walks the walk, having created a single family which can draw its roots from nearly every race on this planet. How can they possibly be racist when every member of their very own family is part of another race? This is where it gets interesting. Despite what should be very obviously true at this point, there's one single thing which might be setting up the potential facade. And this comes from Big Mom herself. She tells Pudding to hide her third eye because it, and I quote, creeps her out. What the hell? This woman, who presumably had a husband with 3 eyes, did the dirty with him to make a 3-eyed baby, and Pudding finds the third eye creepy? As many have pointed out when this was first revealed, it does not make any sense whatsoever. We must be missing something. And while I still believe in and will continue to argue for Big Mom, one way in which this could make sense is if Big Mom herself may be more racist and prejudiced than she has led others to believe. Essentially what I'm saying here is that this could be the setup people were looking for in order to validate Big Mom's dream not being true, and thus allow for, in my eyes, Big Mom to occupy the role of enemy many always thought she would have. So arguing this is relatively straightforward, although based almost completely on pure speculation. Big Mom is revealed to be manipulative and cunning. She also seems capable of misleading others if it leads to her own profit. I think it is entirely plausible Big Mom doesn't care for the races in the slightest, but rather has been using them to become the pirate queen or king. She has created this utopia and given these people the idea that coming here is beneficial for them, so that above their suspicion she can take their lifespan. If anyone ever tried to take her from her throne, there would always be plenty of lifespan around from which she could take and gain in strength to combat almost any enemy. She then creates the illusion of caring by creating a family of many races, but she did this purely to convince others of her fake dream. The third eye just happens to be more repulsive to her than anything else that she literally couldn't hide her disgust. She chose to feed on the fears of these people, but in no way cares for their well-being. I don't believe these things, but they can be argued. But a very interesting facet of this whole conversation is the timing. When it came to Pudding, the timing was very important. Oda wished to up the drama on the story by making us believe Pudding would pull the trigger on Sanji at the climax of the wedding ceremony, only to pull an oopsie-daisy on us at the final moment and reveal her insecurities and true personality. But when it comes to this, which I definitely believe can be defined as a plot twist given we've been led to believe that Big Mom actually dreams of the protection of the races, what was Oda's purpose in delaying? At this point, I firmly believe that the absolute vast majority of One Piece readers already believe Big Mom is an enemy needing defeat. The only high-profile people in the community that I know believe in Big Mom are myself, Theory 2, and Greg. This reveal would certainly add to most readers' general impression of Big Mom, but not in any way that would deserve postponing it until we are essentially almost done with Whole Cake Island. So I think if this is the way Oda will go with it, he must have had a purpose in delaying, such the same as Pudding, to create dramatic effect. And the way I'd like to pursue it is by examining Big Mom's family. One thing that I find very obvious when reading Whole Cake Island is that Big Mom has convinced everyone that her dreams are the real deal. Going back to when Peckham's first described it, and Peckham's I believe is trustworthy, he has clearly bought into this utopia. I think the same would be true of all of Big Mom's children and crewmates. If Big Mom is using them all, I think she is keeping it mostly to herself. So consider this. If her dream was proven to be a lie, and Big Mom reveals this to everyone present at the tea party, how exactly would her family react to this? Would they remain unquestionably loyal? A curiosity of Whole Cake Island has been the repeated betrayal of Big Mom's own family and crew. From Lola to Chiffon, Praline, Peckham's, Opera, Pound, and finally, Pudding. The trend is absolutely baffling. Another thing that is constantly brought up is the fear her own crew and children have for their lives upon displeasing her. Many are starting to speculate that a huge part of Whole Cake Island might focus on Big Mom's relationship with her own crew and family. But for me, it's incredibly hard to argue from this perspective because despite the trend, many of her children seem too loyal to ever go against their mother. Some have for certain, but all or most of them, nah. But what we really lack is a great reason and motivation for them doing so. They need to lose trust in her, and well guys, if her dream is false, and it's revealed that she's been lying to them the entire time, this could be what they needed. One way I've argued why Big Mom will eventually be on friendly terms with the Straw Hats is that the Straw Hats have slowly been acquiring friends from Big Mom's own crew. It's also a very unique phenomenon for the scale at which it is occurring. And I often use this to validate Luffy's own claim from the Zou arc when talking to Peckham's. He said this: by the end of all of this, all the Big Mom pirates would be his subordinates. The Big Mom pirates would at some point, I believe, join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. But this cannot happen while Big Mom is an enemy or while Big Mom is alive, or so I thought. If Big Mom becomes enemies with her own subordinates and Luffy is the one to not only lead to this reveal but rescue them, this could be a thing. So I'm not going to sit here and try to argue exactly how all of this will shake out. There are so many pieces in place I find myself overwhelmed. It could be that after Big Mom is knocked to her knees after what transpired in the last chapter, her anger may boil over to her own citizens and children. It could be revealed that Big Mom's illness is not an illness, but rather an inability for her to stop doing exactly what it is that she has been wanting to do for the last several years, and consuming the life force of these people she uses and despises. Perhaps needing more strength, she uses her devil fruit to suck the lives out of most of the people on her islands. The main point I want to be made here, or made aware to you, is the importance of her dream, and how this may impact the story. I believe because of her dream, we are left with one absolutely game-changing plot twist left in Whole Cake Island. Big Mom befriending the Straw Hats, or Big Mom destroying her own paradise. Both are worthy of serious contemplation. But anyway guys, that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and why. Share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video. Dislike the video if you disliked the video. Subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always guys, have a wonderful day.